Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for your support. If you feel like you're getting some benefit from the videos, please like and subscribe. So today's video is about hip opening, and more importantly, it's a hip opening yoga flow. It's particularly for releasing emotion and stored trauma. One of the areas in our body when we're experiencing trauma, or if we've experienced trauma, is we store a lot of that in our hips. So I'm just going to do a short hip opening yoga flow for you so that you can help to your body and support the release of that. So jump right into something comfy and join us on the mat. The first exercise we're going to start with is a half butterfly. So we're going to pop one leg in front, out straight, and the other one, the sole of the foot's going to be against our leg. And we're just going to just gently support the opening of that. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And I want to invite you to breathe in to the area that you're stretching throughout all of the exercises today. So really use your breath in, let it travel down to the hip area, and as you breathe out, just imagine releasing and letting go of any trauma or tension or stored emotion that you're holding in that area. And I won't talk at all really throughout this video, except for to give you the odd pointer, because I think it's really important for you to be able to go inside and carry out the practice in a more embodied somatic experiencing way, as opposed to just running through the motions. And we're going to change sides. And on the last inhalation, bring the other foot in to meet the soles. The soles are together into butterfly. And taking hold of your ankles, if that's comfortable for you to do so, you're just going to pretend that your legs are wings of a butterfly and you're just going to fly them. So just letting the legs go up and down gently. And take a few moments to do that now, bringing your awareness into that lovely stretch. I just had a little energy shake out there, so something was stored. Just allowing your body to just do what it needs to and let it lead in this moment. It's really important to listen to our bodies. This wonderful exercise also helps to warm up that area too, which is quite important before we get into any kind of deep stretching. And just placing the palms on your knees, taking a moment to just soak up the energy and the heat that's coming from there now. Let it move down into the legs. You can follow your palms down with your awareness. So follow your attention as following the palms as you move that heat down the legs. It's a very good grounding technique too. Really bringing your awareness into the palms as you push down, the feeling and sensations that you're getting, and the warmth that's coming from warming up your hips, and just coming into a very relaxed cross-leg state. We'll just do a couple of side bends here, taking one arm over and reaching as far as is comfortable and easeful for you. Don't let your chest collapse. Keep it nice and raised to the ceiling. Palm facing down and head tilted gently towards the ceiling. And change other side. And on the last inhalation, just taking yourself back to central position. Next exercise is actually stag. So what you're going to do is just turn your body to the side slightly. The leg that's in front of you, so at the moment that's my right leg, is just going to come into a comfortable position in front of you, whatever that is for you. Some people may be out here. If you're a dancer, you'll have a bit more flexibility. This is one of the leg positions in dance too. But it's also a lovely yoga position, and it's a great hip opener. So just moving the back legs, so that they're a little bit like, if you can imagine a stag's legs jumping in the air and bending beautifully to the side, and that's basically what we're doing here. And it's just less than a 90-degree angle is what I've got it at, but you can have it a little bit further in or further out depending on what your flexibility and comfort level is like. We're just going to hold that position. Don't collapse in the body, support that stretch by just raising the chest slightly and holding some of the upper body with that position and that strength. And we're just going to hold this position and really breathe into the leg that's in front of you, particularly around the back of your hip. This is where we're actually stretching right now. Really breathe into that area. Perhaps inviting that area to communicate with you as to what it needs the most from you in order to be able to release, let go of any tension, stress that it's holding from day-to-day stress or trauma that you've experienced. Have a couple of more breaths in this position. Feel free to pause the video at any stage and take longer in each stretch or less time as you see fit, depending on how you're feeling on that day. Listen to your body, be mindful of that connection, let your body lead and tell you what it needs really, and respond to that by giving it what it needs. And taking that now from stag position, we're going to go into pigeon. So you're going to extend the leg at the back and come a little bit higher up onto your mat. So your front hip is off the floor. it's really important, if you can, to get that front hip as low as you can now to the floor, but you might need to position your ankle in order for you to feel comfortable to do that. And the other sort of teaching tip, if you like, is the leg that's straight, the hip on that side needs to be square to the floor. Okay, so don't have it turned out towards the side. You need to literally square it off to the floor. And support your hands, support your upper body with your hands, okay? That will help you to not feel like this stretch is so intense if you're feeling like that's quite a deep stretch and it's a bit much for you. Otherwise, if you want to increase the stretch, you can actually bring the hip very low down onto the floor and then come forward like this into this position in order to increase that stretch. Keeping your awareness in your body. It can be in the hip that you're stretching, or you may find that other sensations and feelings are coming up for you. Just being aware of those feelings, trying not to attach to them. Sometimes we get visions, sensations, emotional feelings as we open and stretch out the body. So if that is happening for you, just go at your pace and stop if you're feeling like it's too much and there's overwhelm. And then you can always come back to the practice after a moment or so. You're aiming to stay in the positions a little bit longer than you would do if you were just doing like a yoga flow class. And it's giving the part of the body time to actually acknowledge what's happening. It's not an exercise, like just a physical exercise. It's actually attending to that part of your body. So it's important to give yourself that time in each particular pose, as long as you're not experiencing too much overwhelm. Try to stay in each pose for as long as you can. Just for the purposes of the video, I'm actually going to just come back up to the centre and we're going to do stag on the other side, okay? So I'm just going to stay today a couple of minutes in the poses so that I can show you, but feel free to stay a lot longer if you need, and I encourage you to do that if you have more time. So now we've got that wonderful stag position on the opposite side. It's okay if you experience a difference on each side. You know, you might be tighter on one side or looser on the other, or there might be other things. You know, one side might throw up quite a lot for you and the other side just might sort of, be fairly neutral, that's absolutely fine. There's no right or wrong here, really. The only thing really you should be focusing on is bringing your attention into the body and saying, this is your time now, how can I help? Really, that's what these practices are. Okay. From here, same as we did on the other side, we're just going to now go into pigeon. So just supporting your body to make that transition, particularly keeping your back knee safe. You're just going to come up onto your back knee there for a moment while you straighten that leg out. And again, if you need to adjust this front leg, that's absolutely fine. You might want it in there, you might be able to stretch it right out. One of the key things, like we did on the other side, is making sure that front hip is on the ground where you can connect it. So it's really like your front leg, if you like, and making sure the extended leg, the hip, is not turned out, but actually comes into a square position. And you can hold here, or you can go into a deeper stretch and lay down in front, dropping your chest. Just remembering to use those forearms if you are in that deep position to support yourself. And keeping your neck, head in alignment by focusing your gaze on the forearms here. All of these exercises being brilliant for anxiety too, when we come into our body, particularly with focus and attention, then it's very grounding for us. So if you think of being grounded as being the opposite to being anxious, being grounded and present, being in our body really helps us to do that. Being connected to our body really helps us to avoid that anxious upward spiral of out of control, overwhelm, which we can all experience from time to time, and some more than most. And when you're ready, just going up gently to a seated position. And in this moment, what we're going to do is actually just extend our legs, just give them a bit of a shake so that we actually help to sort of reset the stretching that we've done. Okay, you can give yourself just a bit of a check-in through the legs there. Beautiful. Okay, I'm just coming back onto your mat. We're going to do like a low-level lunge, if you like. It's called lizard. So you're going to take your right leg forward, and you're going to want to make sure that your knee is directly above your ankle. You're going to feel quite a stretch in your left leg. So if that's all you can manage, taking your right hand on the inside of the right leg, if you can see there, then that's fine. Just make sure that your wrists are stacked directly underneath your shoulders and your elbows, okay? So that you're nice and not going to do yourself any kind of injury here. For those of you who would like to take that stretch a little bit deeper, you can actually come right down to here, which is more like what we would call a typical lizard. And so you're going to be supported by your elbows instead, but that is a very deep, deep stretch. So if you'd like to stay there, that's fine. But if here is enough for you, that's also okay. Can modify any of these practices. We've got to get our mindset shifted from trying to, put our bodies into pretzel-like shapes. Because really that's not necessarily really yoga at all. Yoga is really about trying to connect body and mind and that union. So whatever does that for you is what's needed. And you've got to meet your body where it is. Otherwise you're just engaging in top-down control where the mind is controlling the body, and it's not a union, it's a dictatorship. Just remembering to breathe lovely and deeply into these stretches. And on the last breath, just gently easing out of that position. And before we do the other side, we're just going to combine it with a bit of a frog. So you're going to come into a position where your knees are extended out, okay, wherever is comfortable for you. What's quite important here is to make sure that your knee is safe. So as you bring your lower leg out, okay, and your foot flat, and the same on the other side, it's really important to just take it slowly, okay? And you can either just hold it here, or you can bring it down. You definitely get a little bit of a deeper stretch the lower you go. Again, just being mindful as to what your body needs right now. And we're going to just stay in this position for a couple of moments. Now that you're a little bit warm, you might want to just, on every out breath, just relax your body down into that stretch just a little bit more, very gently and easeful. I'm going to share what I just experienced just now to help you to understand, perhaps noticing other parts of your body responding. So just then, my whole jaw completely let go and released. And I'm not stretching my jaw, I'm stretching my hip. So we are, as a whole holistic sort of connected being, as one whole being, if we're stretching or working on one part of our body, our emotions are connected to that. Other parts of our body are connected. We're not a separated entity. We are like one complete entity and holistic entity. So noticing and bringing awareness as to what's going on for you is really, really, a big part in therapy and therapeutic practices, being able to heal from stress and anxiety and the trauma that you might have experienced. Okay, and one more nice deep breath. And slowly coming out of that position, you want to just lift your body up first before you want to move your legs, so that you facilitate that movement, coming out of that movement safely. Okay, last but not least now, we're just going to do lizard on the other side. So remember to just get your positioning right. Your back leg is extended. Your front leg comes into like a lunge position. You want 90 degrees through that knee. You don't want your knee to be going forward ahead of your ankle, because that's very unsafe for your knee. And you want to take your left hand now, and like the other side, that's going on the inside of your left foot. Okay, so you're not putting it on the outside, you're putting it on the inside. And you're just going to drop the hips down until you feel a nice stretch in your right hip, which is your extended hip. extended leg. And again, if you want to come down onto forearms, just really connecting into the forearms and into the hands to support you. And feel free to do that if you feel like you want to deepen that stretch. And as your body releases tension, whether it's from your jaw and your hips or wherever that's from, it then sends signals to your nervous system that it's feeling safer. And so your mind will calm, your emotions will calm. You'll shift from the state of being either alert or anxious into a state of feeling calm and connected. And so that nervous system state is the healthy one, that they're all valid, very valid, very normal states to be in, but you don't want to be living in the two that are caused by fight, flight or freeze. You want to really try to be predominantly living in calm, connected sort of state, because obviously then your health will be better. However, those other two states that you will that could be triggered is very valid, very important, but it's equally important then to not stay in that triggered state and to actually do some of these exercises in order to bring that nervous system back down from a state of alert. And gently, just when you're ready, coming out of the lovely last stretch that we've done, which is lizard. We're going to take a moment now to just come onto our backs. Find yourself a very comfortable spot. Palms up. You can have your feet on the floor and knees bent if you prefer to support your lower back, or you can have your legs extended out. Gently, feet just gently roll to the side. And for the last moment or so, I want you to just go inward. Bring your awareness to your hips and to your pelvis. And just send love and support and encouragement to that area. You can choose to do this through the words that you send, or you can just send the feelings down from your heart as waves of energy. And we end this practice by sending our gratitude to our hips and our pelvis for being there and always supporting us through the stress and the trauma of life.